10th of 2022. I'm excited to share the information. For those of you I haven't met, obviously I'm not Brian Bean. He's feeling a little bit under weather, so prayers up for his healing and fast recovery. He asked me if I could step in and share some perspective on where we are in our economy, also with this extra digit movement. And I said, absolutely, absolutely. I would love the opportunity to share. For those of you I'm meeting for the first time, my name is Richard Harden, born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. And when I encountered this conversation two and a half years ago, there was nobody jumping on Zoom to hear anything that I had to say when it came to income and wealth creation, because those were things that at the time were eluding me. So when I learned that there were things that I could do different than what I had been taught, I went to work right away, applying the principles, and those principles have changed things for us financially and put us in a position where we're able to teach people around the country how to get from where they are to where they want to be financially. All right. Let's see, one more click right there. And so let me double check to make sure that you're where I was, because I didn't have any solutions. So 2.5 years ago, I had a lot of questions. I was asking myself 5 main questions. That'll be my goal today, to answer those 5 questions for those of you that are interested in the solution. Number 1 question I was asking myself was, where'd my money go? At the time, I was working 2 6-figure jobs, and that wasn't enough. At the same time, I was in a position where I was asking myself, how can I get my money back? But more importantly, has anybody watched their money go away and asked, how can I get it back? And when I get it back, have it stay with me? And then is there anybody out there that just wants to make more money, but doesn't want a second or third job?
Absolutely.
And then most important question is, there anyone that wants to know the secret of having their money make money for them? Okay, well, I'm talking to the right group of people, and here's our conversation. I do want to make sure that for our records and just for edification, just to know who is in the building, if this is your first time participating in our financial makeover conversation, do me a favor and drop a 3 in the chat. So look over to the chat function in your Zoom window and drop a 3 in the chat if this is your first time participating in this conversation. If this is not your first time, if it's your second, third, or beyond, drop a 9 or 3 squared in the chat, just so I know who is who and that we make room for people to get the information that they need. Now, I'll lace my story into the conversation, but I assume it's not that much different than yours. How many of you were taught to go to school and get good grades so that you could go to college, get a degree, get a good job with benefits, and live happily ever after? How many of you found that was not the formula for creating wealth? That's what happened to me. I got the best grades in my schooling, graduated valedictorian, got a scholarship, and went off to Duke University. I finished dual degrees, electrical engineering and computer science, got out into the workplace and figured out I had the wrong formula. So the first thing I'm going to share in our conversation today is the wealth formula. Because the good thing about being an engineer, if you know the formula, you can create a result that anyone else living and breathing has created. Does that make sense? Formula, wealth principle 101. Put this in your notes. If you're taking notes, if you're not taking notes, start taking notes and write that down. Wealth principle 101 is cash, asset, cash. See, the challenge was I was taught to go and get a job so that I could make some cash. I became an asset to someone else, but most of us are taught when we get some cash to go and spend it on some trash. But if you think of anyone that's created wealth in America, they took some of their available cash, used it to buy an asset, build, buy, grow an asset, and then that asset produced enough cash to replace them at work. That's fundamental definition of wealth. Now, here's the problem. For me and for, according to recent statistics, 99% of Americans, the problem is the system is designed to keep us working. Meaning, if you think about any good paying job, the first 1/3 goes off the top to taxes. And the nature of taxes is we go to work, they get paid, and then they send us home with what's left. And because they take such a big hit off the top, taxes actually lead to debt. Meaning Mike, if they weren't taking so much off the top, we wouldn't have to borrow so much for our lifestyle on the bottom. But that's the position that we're in. If you wanted a house, a spouse, 2.5 kids, a white picket fence, and a dog named Spot, well, shoot, if you don't have the $400,000, you need a mortgage. If you don't have the $50,000 cash for your new car, you need a car note. And if you got some students, they need loans. Most of us end up giving away the second third of our income to debt. And that combination of taxes and debt, they got together and had two bad kids, big business and inflation, meaning big business every year figures out a way to get that last 1/3 of our income. And pay special note to this time of year, because this is the fourth quarter of the year and it's that last third. So you'll notice by the last pay period of every month, there's going to be a major holiday, right? We're in the month of October, yes? What holiday is coming up? Halloween. What's going to happen? They're going to trick us into treating them to the last 1/3 of our income as they get ready for November, where they do it again. Thanks for giving us your money on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Tech Tuesday, and then they're going to wrap back around. They even have Brown Thursday, so people not staying home to finish dinner. And then in the end of the year, the last week of the year, they call it the Christmas holidays. Christmas is the holiday on the 25th, but the biggest shopping day of the year is the next day. And we limp out of the year with all of our money having gone to these big four. And that's why most Americans in a normal income year live check to check. But let me pause and talk about the state of our current economy. Does everybody understand that if you were check to check in 2019, that your 2019 dollars can't afford the 2022 prices? Economic Index said that we are experiencing, but most years, inflation's a constant thing. Prices have been going up about 4% every year for years. But 2022, 13%. So someone, through no fault of their own, had the things that they needed for their life. Their rent, their gas, their groceries go up 13%, but they didn't have a way to have their income go up to match the rate of inflation. So they fall further and further behind. And that's the trap that keeps us at work and from building assets. Am I making sense to anybody so far? So here's the blessing in our Wednesday conversation. I'm not here to talk about the problems. I'm here to talk solutions, because everybody on this Zoom, that's you, and especially you have the solution to the problem. The question you got to ask yourself is, how well am I using it? Meaning the solution to all of those challenges when it comes to asset creation is starting a business, a home-based business, to be specific. Meaning that in the United States, if you have a domicile, a place where you live, and your social security number, you're actually born a sole proprietor. Now, here's the downside of the training that we call education. We get trained to sacrifice our social security number to our employer. They take our employer and use that to write off our salary as their business expense. But if you start a home business, the average person that starts a home business gets an instant raise in pay from their job. And then their expenses become deductions. Now, just think about just those two things. Now we start to reverse the flow of money. Instead of our money all flowing out the taxes first, we start to get some of that back and the ability to hire our children so that we leave a legacy of them never having to look past the front door for a role model of someone who took control so that they could have unlimited time and unlimited money. See, the challenge in most of our lives is people that didn't have any money, they had all the time in the world, and people didn't have any time, well, they had money, but no time to enjoy it. We get the best of both worlds by taking opportunity and putting our lives in our control. And by the way, for those that didn't get to meet Brian Bean, let me tell you about my friend, Mr. Bean. I've known Brian for most of my life, and I've watched him do some amazing things in our lives. I remember when he went off to Morehouse, got the job in corporate, but was able to retire at age 22. He started in home business industry at age 19. Now, here's the blessing. Brian was one of the first people to say to me, Richard, you don't have an income problem. You make plenty of money. Making more money isn't the problem. If you don't have strategies to keep your money in your household and in your neighborhood and then grow that money, making more won't help. And he had living proof. He made $1 million and lost $1 million and responsibly regained it with the strategies and principles to put it to work that made him, mentor the millionaire, speaker all over the country and all over the world. And he did it by teaching a simple set of strategies that you can use. And I do mean you can use starting today to recession-proof your income, your savings, and your investments if you choose to take action. What's the strategy? We call our six-figure playbook. It's 3 up and 3 down. As a matter of fact, I want to make sure that everybody hears this part. 3 up and 3 down. Let me grab the microphone. So here's what I want you to do. Everybody come off mute, say 3 up, 3 down.
3 up, 3
Three up.
down.
3 down.
Up, 3 down.
And now,
3 up and 3 down.
now here's
3 up, 3 down.
right? Oops. Here's the blessing. Thanks. Whether you decide to do business in partnership with us or to join our movement or not, if you want to create wealth in your life, you've got to get control of these 6 areas. If your taxes, debt, and expenses went down, how many, show of hands, nod your head up and down if your stress level would go down? I mean, I want you to really imagine you get that check on the 1st, but you don't owe a mortgage payment. You don't have a car note. And your bills are half of what they used to be. But then at the same time, if you were able to have your income go up, specifically your income that comes from your assets increase, and at the same time have your credit score go up, would your attitude of abundance go up as well? That's the blessing and miracle that we've been able to achieve working with Brian. And the blessing, whenever you spend some time around Brian Bean, what you'll find is he's not just one of those people out there talking about something that's possible. He's talking about something he lives. Meaning Brian built his home-based business asset from the business we're going to talk about today to about $1,000 a day. Now, with that $1,000 a day, he took the cash that he created from this new asset. By the way, his investment was under $300 when he started, took this asset, built it to $228,000 in 6 months, and bought 40 acres of land right down there in the south side of Atlanta, affectionately known as Bean Acres, with the thought, hey, this will be a great place to build a house. Hey, I'm only one person. I can't live on 40 acres. What else can I do with this land? And he started finding out that in Atlanta, people are filming movies, commercials all over town. He hired his house out, the lake that sits behind it, and they showed up with a hot tub and a big screen TV that they were mounting on a tree. He said, I don't know what they're doing, but they're paying me for it. So he took some cash, bought an asset, and that asset was creating more cash. And now people that were looking for cash were looking at the Georgia lottery commercial, the Powerball, that TV and big screen, they were right there at his property. And here's the blessing. Once you expand your vision, it doesn't go back to its original shape. So he's been able to do different things. He's spoken on different properties and stages all over the world. He said, what if I invited people to come speak at my amphitheater that I built in my backyard? Imported, I think it's now 200 tons of dirt to level that playing field so that he could play a bigger game. And the blessing is we get to learn directly from the source. So our system, as we go through this evening, I'm going to expose parts of the extra digit system where you get first the understanding that you don't have to rely on the person who introduced you to this conversation. Meaning we're going to give you access to a team of experts in 3 key areas. Category number 1 is saving money. Put that in your notes, saving money. Category number 2, we also give you access to a team of experts in making money. And then category number 3, we give you access to a team of wealth advisors that help you grow your money. So you don't have to become a specialist or suddenly a tax professional, Charles. We have experts that perform this financial makeover. It's done for you, DFY versus DIY. And in that process, here's the blessing. For $99 per month, our team of experts goes to work for you, gives you access to this invitation-only platform designed first to get you your money back. Like I always like to make sure that I'm clear with myself about what drives people. And I hate losing money. Is there anyone out there that hates losing money?
For certain. Makes no sense.
Absolutely.
Make any sense to lose it.
The one lose a dime.
So if on option A, you found out that you were losing $2,000, and on option B, you found out that you missed out on the opportunity to make $2,000, which would upset you more? Losing the money or missing the opportunity to make the money? Put in the chat so we can get this survey, okay? Option A, Lynn is on it. So that's the first thing that our experts go to work doing, because understand, your cash, your current income is a source of wealth for someone. The question is who? I'll give you a hint. U.S. Treasury and the Federal Reserve are the two biggest banks in the world. Where does their money come from? That's our money. They get paid when we go to work, and then when we get direct deposit, our money goes to taxes and the bank first. So our experts go to work to lower the taxes and bring that money back to your house. They help you destroy your debt, shred your bills, raise your score, and grow your assets. Now, I know somebody saw that number. They said $99.97 a month sounds like a bill. There's no other bill that I've had in my life, because people get confused, Lynn. They don't know the difference between an investment and an asset. I mean, an investment and an expense. Here's the difference. Watch the flow of cash based on the expenditure. Watch the flow of cash. This $99.97 a month for me helped me go through all 4 steps in the cashback process. I'll walk through them, but if anybody's going through this process in your makeover, let people know what it sounded like for you. But in my case, they say, step 1, Rich, you got to lower your taxes. So I did what they said. I went to the website and they give us a secure portal where we're able to upload some documents, and then the experts take it from there. I answered some questions. I say, if you can read and count to 4, you can do this. I answered some questions, uploaded my last 2 pay stubs and my previous year's tax returns, and get the agent's review. We have enrolled agents with the IRS, highest level of certification when it comes to tax preparation and tax strategy. In a short period of time, they gave me back an adjusted W-4 from my job. And you know what I found out? I had been overpaying my taxes by $636 per paycheck. That was $1,272 of my hard-earned money that was sitting in the IRS's account, bearing no interest, making me no money, until I filled out some documents when they said they'd give some of it back. Now, if anybody found out that somebody was taking too much of your money, would you want it back? Put that in the chat. Say, give me my money. Quit playing. Give me my money. But the second thing is we start to factor in the power of home-based business deductions. You get one of the best tools that I've ever seen when it comes to having a digital assistant to help you get it right for taxes. Meaning you are eligible for huge tax benefits as a business owner, but you have to have accurate records. The membership includes Hurdler, which every time I get in my car, lets me know how far I've driven and how much that's worth in dollars today, so that I have that mileage log instead of that empty book in the door of my car. Is that just me? Okay. I see how y'all gonna act. Or that bag of receipts at the end of the year that have turned into paper, because I'm good at operations. I'm not a good accountant. Does that make sense? But then the second thing they do, now that it's a part of the platform, they just added that they'll file your taxes for you. And that's just the first hurdle, but it starts to set up the process. Because in my case, they said go after step 1 comes what? Step 2. Step 2, you got to destroy your debts. Put that in your notes. You got to destroy your debts. Debt-free is the new free. And if you could just wake up to the feeling of not owing anybody anything, it'll change your perspective. Here's what they did for me. I took the additional income that I got from my pay raise, added it to the debt elimination system, and they showed me 2 things. Now, is that Marcella that I see second on my screen? Hey, Marcella. They showed me my creditor's plan and an alternative that I could make a choice about. In my creditor's plan, I was going to be in debt for another 24 years. They showed me how to take my additional pay raise and be debt-free in 6 years. If you had a choice between 24 years and 6, which would you choose? 6. And not only that, they also showed me how that would save me $229,000. My $99 investment, it's going to save me $229,000 in interest payments that instead of those going to the bank, those would start to come to our family, so that over the course of the next 10 years, we'd accumulate another $1 million based on the money that we didn't send to the bank. I was getting excited at this point. I was like, well, what else can y'all do? Well, they said, well, what about the bills that you can't pay off? I said, well, what about them? They said, we can negotiate those for you and get them lower. If they could be lower, would you prefer that? I said, yes. I sent them all the bills that I could not pay off. My cable bundle, my phone bill, my home security system, our pest control. They saved us $1,571. Now I want y'all to do the math on that. Okay, I already did it for you. It's $130 in bill savings. Just this part of the membership pays for the membership for us. And then the last thing, I didn't even know that it would do me any good. I just did it because it was a part of the membership. But this credit restoration piece, listen, credit is the ongoing scam and oppressive model of our society right now. Your credit score determines how much you pay for money. And in my case, I thought my credit was decent. I was like 720 to 750, depending on which bureau. I put the information in, I uploaded the reports, I let them do their thing. Do you know my credit went from 750s to 810 to 834? It's an entirely different tier of negotiation. Now, by the way, we're not a credit restoration company. We added this to the existing membership as a free service, knowing that if people don't know what they don't know about credit, it will cost them. And here's the number one thing you got to remember about your credit. Is there anybody out there that thinks their credit is, could be better? This is the note that I teach all young people, because here's the trap. What happens for most people is we get in credit trouble early. They find young people like they found me on the campus of Duke University. Discover Card had a table out there by the Bryan Center, and we both discovered I had no business with a Discover Card. I ain't have a job. I didn't even know that the money that they gave me was due at a different point. It was crazy, and I didn't learn for years, but credit history is what dragged us back. They talk about what you did, and it takes a long time to recover, especially when you're young. So let people know your credit is a bruise, not a tattoo. That's not permanent. Get some experts to help you get the best scores, because best believe the banks have experts at extracting the rest of the money when you don't have it. Now here's the blessing. Taking all the things that the membership did, corporate did an aggregation. Oh, sorry. Yeah, y'all tell Chuck and Sean, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. They grouped up everybody's results. And for the average person, when it comes to our taxes, the instant pay raise for most people is about $350. It's one of the ways that people self-fund their business. At the same time, the deductions, $400 together. Right now, we saved our members $250 million. That's $250 million saved. And that's before we met you. At the same time, just the bill negotiations, which new program only started about a year ago, already on average, they saved the average person about $140 per month on bills, $3.5 million so far. And we have just started the process of beginning to negotiate credit card rates down. Now, here's the combination. You put that together with the debt elimination program, which is, in my opinion, is a saving grace. $64,000 we shaved from our members' interest rates, and $1.8 billion plus the years and years of their lives back. And at the same time, just increasing your credit score an extra 100 to 120 points. Once you factor in the effect that credit has on insurance premiums and interest rates, average member saves about $500 per month, so that the total value, I think the exact number was $2,027, our CEO said, that the membership brings back into a household in return for that $99.97. Now let me do the very quick intelligence test. If you could send $99 out to have 2,000 come in, who wants their money back at their house?
I know I
Put
do.
my money back in my house.
Send it back.
Need my money
Bring it
now.
Get my address.
I want it all
Take
back.
that.
I mean, I get it. It's a no-brainer, but there are people out there that will have you think, well, you can do all that yourself, don't you? That's the broke voice already. You can do all that yourself. Well, I can also change my own oil, cut my own grass, and cut my own hair, but professionals do it better, and it's all they do all day, every day. We were already busy enough before we got started. Does that make sense? So now here's the blessing. Once we get our money back, we've got to get better strategies for growing our money. Can everybody agree? This is one of those years that points out to you how badly a formula has failed us. Because this is what they told me, Barry. They said, now, Ricky, when you get that good job, you get a checking account, a savings account, and you put some of that money in your 401k. Is that what they told y'all? Did you see the statistic last month that over the last 12 months, 401ks have lost 25% in value? That means if you had a $400,000 401k, it's now $300,000 through no fault of your own. And whenever I get a 6-digit drop in value, we got a 911k kind of situation. Does that make sense? It's an emergency. And then when it comes to the banks, the way they treat us, they say that they pay us interest for the use of our money, right? Have you noticed the rates that they're paying? It seems like they're not very interested. At least not very interested in growing money for us across the board. National survey, 0.01% is the average on savings for anyone in America. 0.01. You know what that means if you put $10,000 in a savings account and left it alone, didn't touch it for a year so that the bank could grow it for you? You know what you're coming back to, right? $10,001. You'll earn exactly $1 of interest for their use of your money for a full year. And that's why they give us those suckers when we open the account. It's like, what? Oh, and by the way, you know that $1 is taxable, right? So the strategy, though, this is what you got to understand about banks. Their secret is out. The secret is be the bank. Put that in your notes. You need to be your own bank. And with our growth portion of our membership, we were given access to tools that I just didn't know about. Nobody was telling me about a private reserve account or how to invest in land banking. But once I knew, I said, I'm going to tell Lottie Dottie and everybody, because just think about this concept, private reserve account and land banking. It's two ways that we're able to invest without the ups and downs of the market, meaning I'm a firm believer in the investment in real estate. I believe that Earth is the greatest investment on Earth, and that our investments in real estate are the things that inflation actually drives the value of the asset we purchase. Yes. So we bought land deed certificates. Several of us collectively, we collaborated to buy land in Green Energy Valley, Antelope Valley, California, just east of LA. And the thing about it, they said we could expect about a 20 to 25% increase in value over a 3 to 5 year window, but also knowing that the Olympics are coming to that area in 2028. Warren Buffett just put his new energy efficient bus company out there. Do you know that the investment we made in that land, it increased in value by 43% my next year? And then with becoming our own bank with the private reserve account, structurally, I won't have time to go into detail because we got way too much to cover. But if you think about what it would be like to have an account that grows at the rate of the market, they say we've averaged 8 to 18% the last 20 years. Now, I had a 12% year, a 14, and a 17% year. Yeah, are you with me? Behavior. When you deposit money in the account, it goes up in value at the market rate. When the market goes down, it has a no loss provision so we don't lose any money. And when the market goes up, it goes up again so that we're no longer playing these ball-headed games talking about, well, you just got to wait for the market to recover. You better recover I'm sorry. Apologize. It's emotion. I told you I don't like losing money. Is there anybody like me that, I don't like losing money. That's playing with my mind. I worked too hard for too long for a year to wipe out that much savings. Does that make sense? The other thing about the private reserve account, you do get liquid access to your money before age 60. Is there anybody out there that has some wealth goals or some investment goals that they want to get to before age 59 and a half? So now we're able to fund our private reserve account based on the money we got back. We built this other asset, right? Able to take $25,000 out of the private reserve account to put into an investment property. Now my money's doing two things. It's growing in this real estate investment, and like all the money is still there in the bank. The process, people say that doesn't sound possible, doesn't sound reasonable. That's what banks do. It's called arbitrage, ARBITRAGE. They arbitrate the value of our money so that they're able to loan $10 every time we deposit one. We'll talk about that in another class if that's okay. Am I doing okay so far? I know I get excited and I talk fast. Is this making sense to everybody? And here's the blessing. Now we've covered two things. Now we're protecting our income, protecting our investments, protecting our savings. And that puts us in a position where we're at the point. See, when we got started, Lynn, we were in theory mode. Yes. We didn't know all these things were going to happen, but now we're starting to see people live the legacy, not just leaving one. So my good friend, Dana Turnquist, Dana and I were both real estate investors before MWR. It just accelerated our asset acquisition pace. What do you mean, Richard? Well, Dana said the easiest transaction he ever did when it came to real estate was his land banking deal, because there's no toilets and no tenants. But he also was able to take $28,000 from his private reserve account where he was the bank, invested in this 14-unit Airbnb. And now when 14 doors open and close on a monthly basis, that asset creates more cash. Does that make sense? Richard Greer is one of my favorite people to hang out with, because if he doesn't tell you he's a senior on the move, you might not know. He's been retired for years, but he's young at heart, was able to add $1,200 to his retirement income. How many of you know some seniors that an extra comma would fix their fixed income problems? And then he has other assets that work for him. That Super Beetle, you see somebody that got an old school vintage Beetle, it might have been his. Or Don said, I'm gonna buy a boat. Took some of the money that he created from this asset, bought the other asset, that boat. He gets $300 to $600 every time somebody takes it out. And it's just so many stories of people that took their cash, used it to buy, build, to grow an asset, that we forget to talk about the power of this asset right here. Is the MWR at home business. And for all the things I've done, this has to be the best performing asset I ever acquired. It's $150 investment. Now, by the way, that's not two prices, $99 for the membership and $150 for the business. No, it's $150, and that includes the membership, which now opens up the phantom money tax code. What's the phantom money tax code, Richard? It's 1099. You add a 1099 to your W-2, and now you get the tax benefits, but you also get paid for the power of your word of mouth referral. Word of mouth referral. How does that go? You find some people that are interested in saving money, making money, or growing money. They take a look at this information and they make a decision. And when they decide that they want to become a business partner or a customer, you get paid. Now, I want everybody to understand the majesty, the simplicity of this compensation plan. I want you to look at the person that invited you to this particular Zoom conversation, if their camera's even on. And if their camera's not on, send them an angry message in the chat. Say, why are you acting funny? Turn your camera on. My camera is on. And if they're not even on the Zoom, look at your cell phone. How do rich people make money? By not necessarily being there. It's a part of our system is that you can grow a significant income by helping people get started in business. Our first goal for everybody, when we go through basic training later on this evening, our goal is to get you paid and promoted as quickly as possible. Now, I know that sounds antithetical. That is nothing like corporate America, is it? But this is what we want. We want to teach people how to start profitable businesses. We want to teach people how to fix their roof while it's not raining outside, so that you find three people. Say for the sake of this conversation, you found me, Lynn, and Barry Bleak. Is it safe to say the three of us would get started in business with you? Yeah, we're already in. And because I know those three people, you just came up. Because we ain't get in business to be in business with you. We wanted to start our own profitable business. We spread this word by word of mouth. And as the team grows, so does the income. Now, I know what you're saying. People are like, why haven't I heard of this? Put this in your notes. If we don't tell people, nobody will. The government's never going to tell you how to pay less in tax. That's just not going to happen. You understand this, yes? And the government-sponsored education is not going to teach you another strategy to put yourself in a different tax bracket that doesn't pay them to fund the banks aren't going to tell you how to pay them less money. And big business will continue to advertise for its extraction. The only way this message gets out is if we share it word to word, person to person, with people that we know, that we care, and that we trust. Does that make sense? And it's, you know, the income is variable. Anywhere from $5 a day is getting started. That's self-funding. But then $20 a day, $40 a day, $140 a day. We have people making full-time income on a part-time basis. And I guess I heard a rumor when I was getting on this Zoom that we had a new member to our $40 a day comma club. Now, let me see. Can I find Mike? Mike, put your hand up on camera. There we go. Let me spotlight you so that everybody can see you. All right. Hey, Mike, how about you and I get to know each other and we let everybody else listen in?
That's fine with me.
Awesome, awesome. Well, let me add myself to the spotlight now. Mike, let everybody know where you're tapping in from. Where do you live, and you know what were you doing before MWR?
Okay, I'm calling in from a suburb right outside of Chicago, Illinois. And basically what I was doing, I was just working a couple of hours a week at a big box store in the suburbs of Chicago. And then they threatened to promote me and give me a real job, give me more hours. And then so I started making $5 a day with MWR. I said, wow, if I can make $5 a day, that proves to me that I can actually make wealth real. So I got started with the $5 a day. So turned in my 2 weeks notice and just got busy. So from there, went from $5 a day, $20 a day, and then started building my team. My team is helping me promote other people on the team so we can just keep it moving.
Awesome, awesome. Now I want to ask you a question. I don't know if you know that right now at $40 a day, that's $1,200 in residual income. You're making more residual income than 90% of network marketers in the world.
Wow.
I mean, I'm not saying that there aren't people that make more money than you. That's bonuses though. But when it comes to residual, you built a serious asset. Now, how long have you been in business?
I believe I joined in June.
In June of this year.
Yes, sir.
So from June till now, you put yourself in a position where you went from 5 to 20 to 40, and to get to $40 a day, you had to help some other people make $20 a day along the way. Yes.
Absolutely.
And your encouragement to anybody out there that's listening to this, trying to decide, does this make sense to do? What would you tell them to make sure that they don't stop until they got a comma in their house that sticks?
I would just tell them just to get around people that will support them, people that they want to support, and just work together. I call it building a power team. Build your power team and just get busy, have a strategy, and just go for it.
Man, I love that advice. And then as you think about your current targets and where you want to go from here, what assets do you want to build outside the business with the cash that you get from the business?
Well, you know, I was in real estate at one time looking at going back into the real estate, but this time I won't be going at it alone. I'll have a team. So it's going to be a whole different ball game. Well,
everybody listen, this is where we say the game has kicked up. Once you get to $40 a day, your mind doesn't go backwards. So we expect bigger and bigger things. Everybody come off mute. Wait, let me let you get off mute. Y'all give it up for Mike on the Comma Club.
Represent Mike.
Congratulations, Mike.
Congratulations, Mike. Congratulations, that's fire.
Keep building, Mike.
Now,
Yeah.
I want you to get used to it. Get the feeling. There it is. Congratulations. Now, one last question before I mute everybody. Who's next? Who's next in the Comma Club? Darius Lee, LaPlace. Darius Lee, LaVox, who's it? All right. Matter of fact, put your name in the chat if you're gonna be next at the $40 a day. I urge you, make it to $40 a day before a game changer. It changes the game and the perspective. And here's the blessing: anybody can do it. We have a training system where we teach step for step, word for word, how to get from brand new, maybe never been in business before, to where you're able to write your own paycheck by helping other people get the money back on their paychecks. That makes sense? So, and again, that's just the beginning, because I want you to think about this tier, executive director tier, blessed to be in a category where we earn a couple of $1,000s a month, $3,000 to $4,000 a month, part-time. You don't have to quit your job to do this. I didn't, But once you get to this regional director tier, I can understand from the people that are here, it's difficult to let people still tell you what to do. My brother was hit regional director, $200 a day, $6,000 a month. And he's still part-time, but you got folks like a Sean Hill or, Charles and Judith Ivory. Oh, congratulations, Charles and Judith. There's another 5-star check coming in the house. What's better than a 1-check family, than a 2-check family? Put this down, a 2-check residual family, all right? And Brian Bean, our mentor in business, right now at $1,000 a day, about to cross this threshold of $1,500 a day. That's $45,000 per month. All by helping people understand the timing that we're in. The number one thing that people are starting to realize they need help with. Everybody that was out there thinking it's all good is realizing and understanding it's not all good. But when you get money as the issue out of the way, then you get to make your own choices and start thinking about what other assets can we help you build? Meaning for Quanta Sam, she liked the idea of investing in commodities, especially gold and silver, but it didn't hurt that her credit score went up to a 781 and she added a $4,200 income from this asset to help her invest in more assets. Or my brother Chuck and I, we love buying, flipping, selling, investing in real estate. Part of the debt elimination system actually helped us pay off this rental property down here free and clear, and positioned us with the strategy for accumulating the asset that would buy the next set of assets. Does that make sense? Derek Ray said, you know what? I don't need tenants. I'm gonna get heads of cattle, 20 acres of land, heads of cattle. He's retired from the military. And you got to love the process, because every time I see Derek Ray, I usually see Derek Ray 2.0, so that he's actually living the legacy and teaching the next generation how to be good stewards of what they're being blessed with. Does that make sense? And then Charles and Judith, I'm just waiting for the invitation to the house when it's complete. I need a scooter to get from the front to the back of the house. If you build 6,000 square feet on one level, you're gonna need an intercommunication system to get from one side to the other. But this idea of buying land around some water is a tremendous asset and achievement. And then, you got folks that the asset that was most important to them was they wanted their time back. Everybody say that. Put this in your notes. Time is your most important investment, your most important asset. We could always make some more money. We could never make some more time. Gail Andrews retired from the IRS. Christy Howard, she used to be the best bartender at the Atlanta International Airport, but she's retired from that. And Shanti Hill is one of my best friends in the world, was one of the best math teachers to happily leave the school system and teach adults the things that they didn't teach in the school system. And that's how he got out of the school system. Now, as great as these stories are, the best story has not yet been written because yours has not yet begun. Make a decision at the end of this conversation, whether you're number 2 or number 1. Either way, we'll love you the same. A number 2 says, you know what? I don't want to make any more money, but I refuse to continue to lose money. $99.97 a month gives you access to the membership. That one membership covers you and your spouse. So there's no argument about who's getting their financial house in order. Does that make sense? At the same time, if you refer 3 people to the membership, your access to the membership and the experts is free. But I really get excited because I have an increased opportunity to help the people that decide I'm a number 1. I'm number 1. I'm all in. I want the cash flow. I want all of my money back. And I want to make money by helping other people get the money that they deserve back into their lives, $150 a month. And you get the access to the daily pay, the training system, and people that are legitimately interested in helping you do better financially. You can't beat this community with a bat. So make a decision, because understand, not making a decision is a decision. What's a decision? Decision is a default. Default setting for America is that taxes, debt, big business, and inflation will keep us working from paycheck to paycheck until we die. We have to decide to go to a different setting. Because I know somebody was looking at this saying, man, this sounds like some kind of scheme or scam or whatnot. Look, the scam is already taking place. We're not trying to get you anything. Just get you out of the mindset that when you go to work, you work hard. Somebody else that's not there gets paid first. They get to keep your money for a year, and you get to fill out some forms to beg for your money back. That's a scam, a sin and a shame. And we got to teach people there's a better way. So with that, I'm gonna pause it and let y'all know there'll be training in 15 minutes, 9:30. That's my 45 minutes of fame. Happy Wealth Building Wednesday. Everybody send your healing prayers up to our brother, Brian Bean, and we will get started with training in 15 minutes. Good night.
Thank you for a great
Awesome
training.
job.
Excellent
Great
job.
job.
Excellent
Awesome
Good job.
job.
Good job. Thank you for sharing.
Great job.
Appreciate it.